Park Seo-joon has killed 23 men with his own hands. So when he walks into his kitchen and finds his new maid holding a knife to his 8-year-old son's throat, his first instinct isn't panic. It's professional curiosity about how fast he can kill her before she hurts the boy. Then Yeon laughs. It's the first sound of joy his son has made since his mother drowned 2 years ago, and the shock of it freezes Seo-joon mid-reach for his gun. He stands in the doorway, hands suspended under his suit jacket, staring at an impossible scene. Alice Davidson has a wooden training knife pressed to his son's carotid artery, and Yeon is grinning. Feel where the blade is? Alice's voice is steady, instructional. Her deep brown skin gleams with sweat. Her standard uniform white shirt, black vest, silk tie, is rolled up to expose forearms carved with lean muscle. This is where you're most vulnerable. So if someone grabs you from behind with a weapon, she shifts her stance, and Yeon moves with her, small hands coming up to grip her wrist. He makes a sound, a focused, defiant grunt that punches straight through Seo-joon's chest. Not words, not yet, but something. The first voluntary sound in 731 days. Good. Alice releases him, and Yeon immediately resets his position, eager to try again. Now, if they're holding the knife here, you don't go for the blade. You go for the hand. Always control the weapon first. Seo-joon's blood goes cold. That's not self-defense. That's knife disarmament protocol. Military-grade combat training delivered in his Gangnam garden on a Wednesday afternoon like she's teaching the kid to tie his fucking shoes. He steps fully into the kitchen. The sound of his footsteps on marble is deliberate, loud. Alice's head snaps up. For 1 microsecond, maybe less, her eyes flash with something feral. Cornered animal, threat assessment. Her body shifts almost imperceptibly, weight redistributing. The wooden knife still in her hand, suddenly looking a lot less like a toy. Then the mask drops back into place. Polite, deferential, the perfect domestic worker, Mr. Park. She sets the knife down on the counter with careful precision. I was just teaching my son how to kill someone with a blade. His voice is ice. His hand stays near his weapon. In my garden. Without asking permission. Yeon's face crumples. Appa, we were just upstairs. Now. The command comes out harsher than he intends, and he watches his son flinch. Watches the light die in those small eyes. Watches 2 years of trauma slam back down like a prison door. Yeon looks at Alice. She nods once, gentle, reassuring, and touches the boy's shoulder. It's okay. Go on. I'll see you at dinner. The fact that his son obeys her before moving toward the stairs makes Seo-joon's jaw tighten. But Yeon pauses at the doorway, turns back. His mouth opens, closes, opens again. I wasn't scared, Appa. The words are soft, uncertain, rusty from disuse. Alice makes me feel safe. Then he's gone, small feet pounding up the stairs, leaving a silence so heavy it could crush bones. Seo-joon stares at the empty doorway. His son spoke. 6 words, the first sentences in 2 years of desperate, aching silence, and they were about her. When he finally turns back to Alice, she's standing by the sink, hands folded in front of her, eyes downcast, perfectly submissive. Except for the tension coiled in her shoulders, the way she's positioned herself with clear sight lines to both exits, the way her weight is balanced on the balls of her feet, ready to fight or run. He spoke. Seo-joon's voice comes out rougher than he intends. Yes, Mr. Park. Because of you. I don't know, Mr. Park. I'm just the help. Don't. He closes the distance between them in 3 strides, watching her recalibrate her stance subtle. But there. Don't insult my intelligence. What maid knows knife disarmament? She doesn't flinch. Doesn't pretend not to understand. My father was military, she says in perfect, unaccented Korean that makes his pulse spike. He taught me self-defense when I was young. Special forces. British Army. He believed girls should know how to protect themselves. So you decided to teach my traumatized son how to counter a blade attack. I decided to give him tools so he doesn't have to be scared anymore. Her eyes flick up. Meet his. There's steel there. Conviction. Yeon has nightmares, Mr. Park. He wakes up screaming. I hear him from my room. He dreams about being grabbed, dragged, trapped. So yes, I taught him how to fight back. The words hit like bullets. Because she's right. Because Yeon does wake up screaming. Because Seo-joon has spent 2 years watching his son drown in fear and hasn't known how to pull him out. How do you know about his nightmares? Because I go to him when he wakes up, and I stay until he falls back asleep. She holds his gaze, unflinching. He needed someone. You're not always here. The accusation stings because it's true. Seo-joon runs the Phantom clan. He has territory wars to manage, rivals to eliminate, operations that require his absence. He's not always here. And this woman, this stranger he vetted for 3 weeks and hired because Yeon smiled at her once during the interview, has been mothering his son in the dark. You've been in his room. At night. His voice drops. Dangerous. Without my knowledge. I've been doing my job, Mr. Park. Caring for your son. That's what you hired me for. I hired you to cook and clean. You hired me because Yeon hasn't smiled in 2 years and I made him laugh in the first 5 minutes. Alice straightens. And somehow she seems taller. You hired me because every other nanny quit after 3 weeks because your son wouldn't speak to them. You hired me because you're desperate. The truth of it is a knife between his ribs. Seo-jun smiles. It doesn't reach his eyes. You're very perceptive, Miss Davidson. Almost too perceptive. He pulls out his phone, thumb hovering over a contact, which is why I'm going to run a deeper background check. Find out who you really are. What you're really doing in my home. For the first time, he sees her mask slip. Just for a second. Fear flickers across her face. Or maybe anticipation. It's gone before he can read it properly. Do what you need to do, Mr. Park. Her voice is steady, but her hands tighten against her uniform. But before you do, ask yourself this. How long has it been since you heard your son laugh? How long since he spoke? How long since he looked at you with anything other than fear? The words are a blade, precise and cutting. And ask yourself what you're willing to risk to get him back. Seo-jun stares at her. This woman with killer's hands and a mysterious past who somehow unlocked his son's voice. This weapon he let into his home because he was too desperate to ask the right questions. I would burn down the world for my son, he says quietly. Which means I'll do whatever it takes to protect him. Even from you. I'm not the threat, Mr. Park. Alice meets his eyes, and there's something fierce and protective in her gaze. I'm the only reason he's still fighting. The kitchen falls silent, thick with tension and unspoken truths. Seo-jun realizes 3 things simultaneously. 1. She's right. Yeon is healing because of her. 2. She's hiding something. Something big enough to make her risk working for a crime lord. 3. He wants to know what she looks like when that careful control breaks. When those dangerous hands aren't folding his shirts but gripping his shoulders. When that mouth stops lying and starts. He cuts the thought off. Dangerous territory. We're not done, Miss Davidson. He steps back, creating distance. I'm going to find out who you are. I know. She turns back to the sink, resuming her duties like the last 5 minutes didn't happen. But in the meantime, Yeon needs dinner. He asked for japchae tonight. I'll have it ready in 40 minutes. The dismissal is subtle but unmistakable. She's already won this round, and she knows it. Seo-jun leaves the kitchen with more questions than answers. But as he climbs the stairs to check on his son, he hears something that stops him cold. Yeon, humming. A tuneless, fragile sound, but it's there. Present, alive. And downstairs, Alice Davidson continues cooking dinner, moving through his kitchen like she belongs there. This beautiful mystery with a soldier's training and secrets in her eyes. Seo-jun makes a decision. He'll find out the truth. Every detail. Every lie. And then he'll decide whether to kill her or keep her. Maybe both. Because the most dangerous thing in the world isn't a woman who can kill, it's a woman who can make you hope. And Alice Davidson just made him hope that his son might be okay. Which means she owns him now. Whether she knows it or not. Seo-jun doesn't sleep that night. Instead, he sits in his office with the lights off, the glow of 6 security monitors painting his face in shades of blue and gray, watching Alice Davidson move through his house like a ghost. 2:47 a.m. She emerges from her quarters, the small suite off the kitchen that used to belong to his mother-in-law. She's wearing black cotton sleep pants and a tank top that shows the definition in her shoulders, her arms. She moves through the darkened hallway with the confidence of someone who's memorized every creak in the floorboards, every shadow. She goes to Yeon's room. Seo-jun leans forward, heart hammering against his ribs. His hand hovers over the intercom button. One word and Yong-soo, his head of security, would be there in 30 seconds. One word and this ends. But he doesn't press it. He watches. Alice slips into his son's room without knocking. The angle of the camera shows Yeon thrashing in his bed, small fists tangled in sweat-soaked sheets. Seo-jun can't hear the boy's cries, but he can see them in the arch of his spine, the silent scream of his open mouth. Alice sits on the edge of the bed. She doesn't turn on the light. She just reaches out and places one hand on Yeon's chest, steady, grounding, and she waits. Seo-jun watches his son's breathing slow, watches the nightmare release its grip, watches Alice lean down and whisper something he'll check the audio later. Enhance it. Find out what spell she's weaving over his child. She stays for 17 minutes. Then she stands, straightens the covers, and leaves as silently as she came. But she doesn't go back to her room. Seo-jun tracks her through the cameras. Kitchen. No. East wing. No. She moves with purpose. And it takes him 3 cameras to realize where she's headed. The south perimeter door. The one that leads to the garden. The one that has a direct sightline to the eastern gate and the street beyond. She's checking the perimeter. At 3 a.m., a maid who can't sleep, or a soldier maintaining operational awareness, Alice stands in the garden for 6 minutes. She doesn't move much, just a slow rotation, eyes scanning the darkness, noting angles, shadows, potential approach vectors. Then she pulls out her phone. Seo-jun's fingers fly across his keyboard, pulling up the signal trace he'd installed on every device in the house after Hae-jin's death. The phone pings. It's the standard smartphone he'd provided, but Alice has done something to it. The encryption is military grade, routed through 3 VPN servers he recognizes from his own operations. Who taught a British housekeeper how to anonymize communications? The call lasts 43 seconds. Seo-jun can't break the encryption fast enough to catch it. When Alice hangs up, she stands in the garden for another 2 minutes, then returns inside. This time, she goes to the kitchen, makes tea, Earl Grey, based on the tin she pulls from the cabinet. She sits at the small staff table in the corner and pulls out a notebook. Seo-jun zooms in. The handwriting is precise, controlled. But it's not English. It's not Korean either. It takes him 3 seconds to recognize the characters. Arabic. Specifically, Moroccan dialect Arabic. If the unique letter formations are any indication, his blood goes cold. Morocco. The file he'd commissioned on Alice Davidson said she'd worked as a private tutor in London before coming to Seoul. Said her father had been British military, honorably discharged. Said she had no criminal record, no red flags, no reason to deny her a work visa. But that file was bullshit. He knows it now with bone-deep certainty. That file was a legend, a false identity constructed with the kind of attention to detail that only intelligence agencies or very expensive criminals can manage. Seo-jun picks up his phone and dials. Yes, sir. Young-soo sounds alert despite the hour. Good. I need a deeper background check on Alice Davidson. And I mean deep. Pull her fingerprints from the teacup she's using right now. Run them through Interpol, MI6, CIA, FSB, Mossad, every database we have access to. I want DNA if you can get it. I want to know every place she's been in the last 10 years. And I want it by morning. Sir, that level of investigation will flag on multiple intelligence networks. If she has protection, then we'll know that too. Seo-jun's voice is granite. Do it. He hangs up and returns his attention to the screens. Alice finishes her tea, rinses the cup, dries it, returns it to the exact spot in the cabinet where it lives. Then she goes back to her room, and the light goes off. Seo-jun should go to bed, should try to sleep, but he doesn't. He rewinds the footage to the moment Alice entered Yeon's room. He enhances the audio, filters out the ambient noise, isolates her voice. Shh. A little warrior, I'm here. You're safe. They can't reach you, I promise. Little warrior. Not sweet boy or it's okay or any of the gentle platitudes he's heard from every nanny who tried and failed to reach his son. She called Yeon a warrior, like he's not a victim, like he's strong, like she sees something in him that Seo-jun has been too terrified to acknowledge. Seo-jun closes his eyes and allows himself to remember what he's been trying to forget. The sound of Yeon's laugh yesterday. The feel of his son's arms around his neck at bedtime. A hesitant hug that lasted 5 seconds before the boy pulled away. The small, tentative smile when Seo-jun asked if he'd enjoyed his japchae. Alice did that. In 3 weeks, she's done what 2 years of psychiatrists and specialists and medication couldn't do. She brought his son back from the edge, which makes her either the best thing that's ever happened to his family, or the most dangerous threat he's ever let through his door. Seo-jun pulls up her employment file again, stares at the photo attached to the application. Professional, neutral, carefully blank. But now he notices things he missed before. The way her eyes track slightly to the left of the camera checking her exit route, the tension in her jaw despite the pleasant smile. The fact that her posture is too perfect, like someone trained to minimize their physical presence. He opens a new window and starts his own investigation. British military records. He has contacts, people who owe him favors. If Alice's father served, there will be a trail. Service number, deployment records, discharge papers. Nothing. He tries variations of the name. David Davidson, Daniel Davidson, Douglas Davidson. He expands the search to include Army, Navy, RAF, Royal Marines. Nothing. It's 4:30 a.m. When he finds it not a record, but an absence of records. a David M. Davidson who served in the SAS from 1998 to 2003, whose file was sealed under Official Secrets Act provisions, whose entire service record was redacted except for a single line: discharged, killed in action, classified operation, 2003. Seo Jun sits back in his chair, heart pounding. If Alice's father was SAS and died on a classified op, that means she's not just a soldier's daughter. She's the daughter of a Tier 1 operator, someone who worked in the shadows, who knew things governments would kill to keep buried. And if her father died when she was young, he does the math, assumes Alice is in her late 20s, she would have been a teenager. Old enough to understand, old enough to be angry, old enough to follow in his footsteps. The phone on his desk rings. Yongsoo. Sir, we have a problem. Seo Jun's grip tightens on the receiver. Talk. The fingerprints came back flagged, but not through normal channels. We got a visit. Yongsoo's voice drops. 3 minutes after we ran her prints through Interpol, our system was remotely accessed. Someone very sophisticated traced our query and is now inside our network. Can you lock them out? I'm trying, but sir, whoever this is, they're good, government-level good, and they're not trying to steal anything, they're just watching. Let them watch. Seo Jun's mind is racing. Leave the back door open, but monitor everything. I want to know who's interested in Alice Davidson. There's more, sir. I got a hit on the DNA sample. Partial match in an archived UK military database. The file is sealed, but the match probability is 94%. Parent-child relationship confirmed. David Davidson. Yes, sir. How did you? Doesn't matter. Keep digging. And Yongsoo? Don't approach Alice. Don't change anything. I want her to think everything is normal. He hangs up and turns back to the monitors. Alice's room is still dark, but Seo Jun knows she's awake. Can feel it like a physical presence. She knows he's digging. She's waiting to see what he'll do with what he finds. The sun starts to rise, painting the Seoul skyline in shades of gold and blood. Seo Jun watches the light creep across his office floor and makes a decision. He's not going to confront her yet, not going to show his hand. Instead, he's going to watch, learn, figure out what she wants, what she's running from, what brought a British operator's daughter to his house wearing a maid's uniform. Because women like Alice Davidson don't run unless something terrifying is chasing them. And men like Park Seo Jun don't let mysteries go unsolved, especially mysteries with his son's happiness tangled up in them. At 6 a.m., Alice emerges from her room, dressed in her uniform, hair pulled back, face carefully neutral. She starts breakfast, moves through the kitchen like she belongs there, like she's not a bomb waiting to explode in the center of his carefully controlled world. Seo Jun watches her crack eggs into a bowl, her movements efficient and precise, and he thinks about how those same hands taught his son to break a wrist yesterday, how they soothed his nightmares last night, how they could probably kill him in 5 different ways before he reached his weapon. His phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number, routed through encryption layers that would take his people days to crack. You should stop digging, Mr. Park. Some truths are dangerous. Seo Jun stares at the message. Then he looks up at the monitor showing the kitchen. Alice is plating breakfast. Her phone is on the counter beside her, screen dark. She didn't send this. Someone else did. Someone watching his network traffic, monitoring his investigation. Someone protecting her, or controlling her. Seo Jun deletes the text and stands. He's been up for 23 hours, running on whiskey and obsession. He should sleep, should approach this fresh. But instead, he finds himself walking down the stairs, through the hallway, into the kitchen where Alice is setting the table for breakfast. She looks up when he enters. Her eyes are calm, unreadable, but he sees the tension in her shoulders, the way her hand hovers near the knife block. Good morning, Mr. Park. I wasn't expecting you up so early. Coffee? Who sent me a text at 6:03 a.m., telling me to stop investigating you? The question hangs between them like a blade. Alice's expression doesn't change. She pours his coffee with steady hands, the dark liquid streaming into white porcelain like ink into snow. When she sets the cup in front of him, her fingers are close enough to his that he can feel the heat radiating from her skin. I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Park. Don't lie to me. He wraps his hand around the cup, welcoming the burn. I've been watching you all night. Security footage, every room, every movement. Something flickers across her face. Not fear, something darker, something that looks almost like satisfaction. Then you saw me comfort your son when he had nightmares. Her voice is soft, dangerous. You saw me check the perimeter to make sure he's safe. You saw me do the job you hired me for. I saw a woman with military training pretending to be domestic help. He stands, and the space between them shrinks to nothing. She doesn't step back, doesn't flinch, just tilts her head up to hold his gaze, and the morning light catches on her skin, turning it to polished bronze. I saw someone who moves like she's been hunted, or like she's done the hunting. Maybe I'm both. The admission hangs in the air between them, electric and raw. Who are you? His voice drops to something rough, intimate. Really? Alice's lips curve into something that's not quite a smile. I'm the woman keeping your son alive, Mr. Park. That's all you need to know. That's not enough. It'll have to be. She moves to step around him, but he catches her wrist. Gently. Not a restraint to question. Her pulse hammers against his fingers. Fast, wild, alive. Let me go. But she doesn't pull away. Doesn't use any of those dangerous skills he knows she possesses. Just stands there, breathing hard, eyes locked on his. Tell me the truth. And I will. For a long moment, neither of them moves. The kitchen is silent except for the sound of their breathing, the distant hum of the refrigerator, the entire world narrowing to the space where his skin touches hers. Then Yon's voice drifts down from upstairs. Alice? Are you making pancakes? The spell breaks. Alice pulls her wrist free with a controlled twist that's pure training, pure reflex. Your son is awake, Mr. Park. And yes, Yon pancakes in 10 minutes. She moves past him to the refrigerator, and Seo Jun is left standing in his kitchen, hands still warm from her skin, heart beating too fast, wondering when exactly he lost control of this situation, or if he ever had it at all. The file arrives at 9:47 p.m., delivered by courier in a plain manila envelope with no return address. Seo Jun dismisses Yongsoo with a look and carries the envelope to his office. Locks the door, pours 3 fingers of whiskey he doesn't drink. Then he opens it. The first page is a photograph. Alice Davidson, but younger, maybe 23, 24, military fatigues, desert background, Morocco, based on the terrain. She's standing with 4 other people, all in tactical gear, faces partially obscured by sand and sun glare. Someone has drawn a red X through 3 of the faces. Dead. The second page is a classified document, heavily redacted. What remains tells a story in fragments. Subject: Operation Delta Wind location. Redacted, Morocco date. Redacted personnel. 5-person security detail. Tier 1 contractors mission status. Catastrophic failure casualties. 3 Kia, 1 MIA. 1 survived cause. Redacted survivor. A. Davidson, current location unknown. The third page is a psychological evaluation, dated 6 months after the mission. The language is clinical, cold. Subject displays signs of severe PTSD, survivor's guilt, and persistent ideation regarding revenge. Recommendation: psychiatric hold and monitoring. Subject declined treatment and disappeared from observation, considered high risk for autonomous action. The fourth page is a list of names. 27 names to be exact, each with a small notation beside it. Deceased or location, unknown or under surveillance. Seo Jun's eyes catch on one name halfway down the list. Kim Jae-sung, alias The Viper, last known location, Seoul, South Korea, affiliated with Black Dragons Syndicate. His blood turns to ice. The Black Dragons, his oldest enemies. The organization that's been trying to take territory from the Phantom Clan for 5 years. The same group that sent 3 men to kidnap Yeon last year, the attempt that left 2 of Seo Jun's guards dead and his son traumatized into silence. Alice isn't here by accident. She's here because the man who destroyed her team is connected to the people who destroyed his son. Their enemies are the same. Seo Jun sits back in his chair, mind racing. He should be angry, should feel betrayed, should throw her out immediately for lying, for using his home as a hiding place, for putting his son at risk. But all he feels is a dark, vicious satisfaction, because now he knows what she wants, and he knows exactly how to use it. The intercom on his desk buzzes. Sir, Miss Davidson is asking to speak with you. She says it's urgent. Seo Jun allows himself a smile. Send her in. Alice enters his office at 10:15 p.m., still wearing her uniform but somehow looking more dangerous than she did in tactical gear. The low light catches on the angles of her face, the curve of her neck, the way her hands are steady despite the fear he can smell on her. She knows he has the file, knows he's seen everything. Close the door, he says quietly. She does. Then turns to face him, chin raised, shoulders back, waiting for judgment. Seo Jun stands, moves around his desk, each step deliberate. He stops 3 feet from her, close enough to see her pupils dilate, far enough to maintain the illusion of professional distance. Alice Davidson isn't your real name. No. Her voice is steady. It's Alice Laurent. Davidson was my mother's maiden name. Your father was SAS, David Laurent. Killed in Afghanistan in 2003 when you were 15. 14. A muscle ticks in her jaw. But yes, you followed in his footsteps. Became a contractor. Tier 1 security work. The kind of jobs governments pretend don't exist. I was good at it. Were. He takes a step closer. Or are. Were. That life is over. Because your team died in Morocco. Because someone betrayed you. Because you've spent the last year running from whoever wants to finish the job. He watches her throat work as she swallows. And you came to my house because you knew I was at war with the Black Dragons. Because you knew their operations in Seoul. Because you needed access to intelligence you couldn't get on your own. Yes. The admission comes out raw, honest. I needed to find him. Kim Jae-sung. The Viper. He's the one who gave the order. Who sold my team's location for money. Who left us to die in that desert. And you thought hiding in a crime lord's house would keep you safe. I thought hiding in plain sight would buy me time. Alice's eyes meet his, fierce and unashamed. I thought caring for your son would make you hesitate before you threw me out. I was right. The manipulation should anger him, should feel like a violation. Instead, it feels like recognition, like seeing himself reflected in someone else's ruthless survival instinct. You used my son. I protected your son. She steps forward now, closing the gap between them, and the air goes thick with heat and tension. I didn't lie about that. Jan was drowning, and nobody was saving him. So I did. I gave him tools to fight back. I gave him a reason to keep living. That was real, Mr. Park. Everything else might be a lie, but not that. Seo-jun can see the truth of it in her eyes, can hear it in the crack in her voice when she says his son's name. Why should I believe you? Because, if I wanted to hurt you, I've had 1,000 chances. Alice's voice drops to something intimate, dangerous. I know your schedule, your security rotations, where you keep your weapons, how you take your coffee. I know that you check on Yeon 3 times every night, even though you think he's asleep. I know you haven't touched another woman since your wife died because you feel guilty for still being alive. The words hit like bullets, each one finding a vulnerable place he didn't know he had. I know you, she whispers, because I'm just like you. Broken, angry, willing to burn the world down for the people we love. Seo-jun's control fractures. He reaches out, cups her face with both hands, feels her sharp intake of breath against his palms. Her skin is soft, warm, alive. Her eyes are wide, but she doesn't pull away. Doesn't use those dangerous hands to stop him. You want to hunt your ghost, he says roughly. I want to protect my son. Our enemies are the same. Yes, then we make a deal. His thumb traces the line of her jaw, and he feels her tremble. You stop lying. You tell me everything. Every detail about Morocco, about your team, about what you know about the Black Dragons, and I give you what you need, which is me. The word comes out possessive, absolute. My resources, my network, my protection. You want the Viper? I'll help you find him, but you do it my way, under my command, as part of my organization. Alice's breath hitches. You're offering me a job. I'm offering you revenge. He leans in until their foreheads almost touch, until he can taste her exhale. And in return, you protect my son. You teach him to survive. You make him strong enough that he never has to be afraid again. That's all you want? No. Seo-jun's hands slide from her face to her shoulders, feeling the tension coiled there. I want to know every secret you're hiding. I want to understand what makes a woman like you choose my house out of all the places you could have run. I want to know what you look like when you stop pretending to be helpless. Alice's lips curve into something dark and challenging. You want to see the monster, Mr. Park? I want to see you. His grip tightens, just enough to feel the steel beneath her skin. No more masks, no more lies. You show me who you really are, and I'll show you the same. For a long moment, they stand there, breathing each other's air, teetering on the edge of something dangerous and irrevocable. Then Alice reaches up and covers his hands with hers. Her palms are calloused, scarred. A warrior's hands. Deal, she says. But I have one condition. Name it. When we find the Viper, I get to kill him. Slowly. The way he deserves. Seo-jun smiles, dark and approving. I wouldn't have it any other way. He releases her and moves to his desk, pulling out a bottle of blood-red whiskey, the expensive kind, the kind he reserves for sealing the most dangerous agreements. He pours 2 glasses, hands one to Alice. To hunting ghosts, he says. To revenge. She clinks her glass against his, and they both drink. The whiskey burns going down, but not as much as the look in Alice's eyes, fierce, grateful, still carrying shadows he wants to chase. There's something else you should know. she says quietly. The leak that got my team killed? It came from inside the Black Dragons, but the order came from higher up. Someone in the Korean government. Someone who wanted our operation buried. Seo Jun goes very still. You're saying someone in power is working with the Black Dragons. I'm saying the corruption goes deeper than gang territory. And if we go after the Viper, we're going to uncover things people have killed to keep hidden. Alice sets her glass down. This isn't just about revenge anymore, Mr. Park. It's about survival. Mine and yours. And my sons, especially your sons. Her eyes are grave, honest. Because if the Black Dragons realize I'm here, they'll come for all of us, and they won't stop until we're dead. The threat should terrify him, should make him reconsider. Instead, it crystallizes his resolve into something sharp and unbreakable. Let them come, Seo Jun says quietly. I've been waiting for an excuse to destroy them. You just gave me one. Alice smiles. And for the first time since she walked into his house 3 weeks ago, the expression reaches her eyes. I think this is going to be a beautiful partnership, Mr. Park. Seo Jun, he corrects. If we're going to war together, you should probably use my name. Seo Jun. She tests the syllables, makes them sound like a promise and a threat all at once. And you should call me Alice. The real Alice. The one who doesn't fold shirts and smile politely when men underestimate her. I never underestimated you. I know. Her gaze holds his, steady and certain. That's why I chose you. The war room in Seo Jun's basement is a study in controlled chaos. 3 walls covered in maps, surveillance photos, organizational charts. The 4th wall is floor-to-ceiling screens showing live feeds from every corner of Seoul's underworld casinos, ports, warehouses, anywhere the Black Dragons might operate. Alice stands at the center of it all, transformed. She's shed the maid's uniform for tactical clothing, black cargo pants, fitted tank top, combat boots. Her hair is pulled back tight, exposing the elegant lines of her neck. The small scar above her left eyebrow that Seo Jun had never noticed before. She looks like what she is, a weapon. Young-soo stands across from her, arms crossed, skepticism carved into every line of his face. You expect us to believe the Black Dragons have government protection? I don't expect you to believe anything. Alice's voice is cool, professional. I expect you to look at the evidence. She pulls up a file on the central screen, financial records, encrypted communications, shipping manifests. 3 months before my team was hit in Morocco, the Black Dragons received a shipment of military-grade weapons. RPGs, C4, equipment that's supposed to be locked down in government armories. Someone with clearance authorization moved those weapons through customs without inspection. Yong-soo leans in, studying the manifests. His expression shifts from skeptical to grim. This authorization code, I recognize it. It belongs to the Ministry of Defense Oversight Division, specifically to Deputy Minister Han Sung-min. Alice pulls up another screen, this one showing a photograph of a man in his 50s, expensive suit, political smile. He's been on the Black Dragon's payroll for at least 5 years, maybe longer, and 3 months ago he needed my team gone because we stumbled onto shipment routes that would have exposed the whole operation. Seo Jun studies the photograph with cold calculation. Deputy Minister Han, the same man who pushed for increased law enforcement funding to combat organized crime, while simultaneously ensuring organized crime had military weapons. Alice's smile is bitter. It's elegant, really. He gets credit for fighting gangs while arming them. The Black Dragons get power and protection. Everyone wins. Except your team. Except my team. Her voice goes hard. And now he's positioned to become full minister within 6 months, which means his reach, his protection of the Black Dragons, will expand, which means anyone investigating them, including us, becomes a national security threat he can eliminate legally. The implications settle over the room like ash. We need leverage, Seo Jun says finally. Something big enough that he can't risk moving against us. I have leverage. Alice pulls up another file, and Seo Jun feels Yong-soo's sharp intake of breath. Right before my team was hit, we managed to extract financial records from a Black Dragon compound in Tangier. Bank accounts, wire transfers, shell corporations, evidence of every bribe, every payoff, every dirty deal linking Deputy Minister Han to the organization. My team died, but I got the data out. Where is it? Encrypted, distributed across 6 different servers in 3 countries. If something happens to me, it releases automatically to every major news organization in Korea and internationally. Alice's smile is sharp as a blade. I may be running, but I'm not helpless. Han knows I have this. It's why he hasn't killed me yet. He's trying to find the servers first. Seo Jun stares at her with something approaching admiration. You're not just running, you're drawing them out. I'm making them desperate enough to expose themselves. She meets his eyes. I knew Han had black dragon contacts in Seoul. I knew if I stayed visible enough, long enough, they'd send someone to find me. Someone high up enough that I could trace the connection back. The Viper. The Viper. Alice's expression goes cold. He's the Black Dragon's head of operations in Seoul. He reports directly to their leadership in Beijing. And he's the one who received the kill order for my team. Find him, and we find the evidence that links him to Han. Get that evidence, and we have enough to destroy them both. Yong-soo looks at Seo-jun. This is more complicated than a territory war, sir. We'd be going against government corruption, international crime syndicates. We'd be finishing what they started. Seo-jun's voice is absolute. The Black Dragons tried to take my son. They succeeded in taking his mother. They've been bleeding our territory for 5 years. And every time we push back, someone in the police department or the courts makes it go away. Now I know why. He turns to Alice. Where's the Viper now? I don't know his exact location, but I know he runs operations out of a private club in Gangnam. The Red Lotus. High-end prostitution, drug trafficking, money laundering. It's protected by police who think they're looking the other way for standard vice. They don't know what else happens there. What else happens there? Alice's jaw tightens. Human trafficking. Specifically, women from Southeast Asia who disappear into private collections. The Viper specializes in acquisition and transport. That's how he made his reputation. That's why the Black Dragons trust him with their most sensitive operations. Seo-jun feels rage ignite in his chest, cold, controlled, lethal. We shut it down. Not yet. Alice steps closer to the map of Gangnam on the central screen, pointing to the club's location. The Red Lotus is too visible, too protected. We go in guns blazing, and Han will bury us under corruption charges before we can expose anything. We need to be smarter. How? We make the Viper come to us. She turns, and the low light catches on her face, painting her in shadows. He's looking for me, so we let him find me. We set a trap, using you as bait. Seo-jun's voice goes dangerously quiet. No, it's the only way. I said no. He closes the distance between them in 3 strides, aware of Yong-soo's presence but beyond caring. You think I'm going to let you walk into the hands of the man who killed your team? You think I'm going to risk you like that? Risk me? Alice's eyes flash. I've been taking risks since I was 20 years old. I don't need your protection, Seo-jun. You have it anyway. His hand comes up, almost touching her face but stopping just short, the air between them electric with tension. You made a deal. You're mine now. Mine to protect. Mine to command. And I'm telling you we find another way. There is no other way. Her voice rises, raw with frustration. The Viper won't expose himself for anything less than me. I'm the loose end. I'm the threat. If I don't draw him out, he'll keep sending people until one of them succeeds, and your son will be caught in the crossfire. The mention of Jan hits like a physical blow. Then we increase security. We stop running and start hunting. Alice reaches up, and this time she does touch him, her hand on his chest, palm flat over his racing heart. I'm not asking for permission. I'm telling you this is what needs to happen. The question is whether you trust me to do it right. Seo-jun looks down at her hand, feeling the heat of her skin through his shirt, the barely controlled violence in her that mirrors his own. I trust you, he says finally. But I'm coming with you. You want to draw out the Viper? Fine. But you don't face him alone. Alice's lips curve into something fierce and grateful. Deal. Yong-soo clears his throat. Sir, with respect, if both of you are in the field, who protects Yon? The question hangs heavy in the air. Seo-jun looks at Alice, sees the same calculation in her eyes. I'll do it. Yong-soo continues. I'll take Yon to the safe house in Busan. Keep him hidden until this is over. You have my word nothing will touch him. Seo-jun studies his head of security, the man who served him faithfully for 8 years, who took a bullet meant for Haijin and still carries the scar, who's proven his loyalty in blood. 3 days, Seo-jun says. We have 3 days to draw out the Viper and end this. After that, even if we fail, I want my son back. Understood. They spend the next 4 hours planning. Alice walks them through the Viper's patterns, his known associates, the times and places he's most vulnerable. She moves around the maps with confident precision, pointing out weaknesses, suggesting angles of approach. Seo-jun watches her work and realizes this is who she really is, not the quiet maid, not the gentle caretaker, but this brilliant, dangerous strategist, who speaks the language of violence as fluently as he does. At 2 a.m., Yong-soo leaves to prepare the safe house. Alice and Seo-jun remain in the war room, surrounded by photographs of their enemies, The scent of coffee and determination thicken the air. You should get some rest, Seo-jun says quietly. Tomorrow's going to be difficult. So is tonight. Alice doesn't look at him. Just keeps studying the map of the Red Lotus. I haven't slept properly in a year. Every time I close my eyes, I see them. My team, the ambush. I see Marcus taking 3 bullets while trying to cover our extraction. I see Sophia bleeding out in the sand while I ran like a coward. You survived. That's not cowardice. Isn't it? Her voice cracks, and he sees her hands tremble before she fists them. I had the data, the evidence. I chose to save it instead of them. I made the calculation 3 lives for the chance at justice. What does that make me? Seo-jun moves behind her, close enough that his chest almost touches her back. It makes you a soldier. Someone who understands that some fights are bigger than individual survival. It makes me a monster. Then we're both monsters. He reaches past her, his arms bracketing her body as he points to a location on the map. Because I've made the same choice. I've sacrificed people to protect my son, to maintain power, to survive. The difference is I don't apologize for it. Alice turns in the circle of his arms, and suddenly they're face to face, breathing the same air, the maps and screens forgotten. You don't feel guilty? Her voice is barely a whisper. Every day. His hand comes up to cup her face, thumb tracing the curve of her cheek. But guilt doesn't bring them back. Action does. Revenge does. Making their deaths mean something that's the only redemption we get. Is that enough for you? It has to be. He leans in, forehead touching hers, both of them suspended in this moment of raw honesty. Because the alternative is giving up. And I won't do that. Not for my son. Not for my wife's memory. Not for... He stops, but the unspoken word hangs between them anyway. Not for you. Alice's breath hitches. Her hands come up to grip his shirt, and he can feel her trembling not with fear, but with something more complicated. Want. Need. The desperate human urge to feel something other than pain. Seo-jun. He kisses her. It's not gentle. Not careful. It's raw and desperate. 2 people drowning who found something solid to hold on to. Alice makes a sound in her throat and kisses him back just as fiercely, her hands fisting in his shirt, pulling him closer. She tastes like coffee in danger and the particular sweetness of someone who understands violence. Seo-jun's hands slide into her hair, tilting her head back, deepening the kiss until neither of them can breathe. When they finally break apart, both are gasping. That was, Alice starts. A mistake. Seo-jun finishes, even though his body is screaming at him to pull her back. We can't do this. Not now. Not when we're about to walk into a war. Because it's a distraction. Because I can't afford to lose focus. He forces himself to step back, even though it feels like tearing off his own skin. And neither can you. After this is over, after the Viper is dead and my son is safe, then we can figure out what this is. Alice nods, but her eyes are dark, with the same hunger he feels. After, he agrees. She moves toward the door, then pauses. Seo-jun, thank you. For believing me. For helping me. Don't thank me yet. His voice is rough. We still have to survive. Alice smiles, and it's the most honest expression he's seen on her face. Then I guess we'd better not die. After she leaves, Seo-jun stands alone in the war room, surrounded by evidence of corruption and violence, his lips still burning from her kiss. He's made many dangerous decisions in his life, made alliances with killers, started wars with enemies more powerful than himself, built an empire on blood and fear. But letting Alice Laurent into his heart might be the most dangerous thing he's ever done, and he's going to do it anyway. The training room is in the sub-basement, soundproofed and private. Seo-jun arrives at 5 a.m. to find Alice already there, moving through forms with controlled precision. She's wearing fitted athletic gear that shows the power in her body, the flex of muscle in her shoulders, the controlled violence in each strike. She doesn't stop when he enters, just continues the sequence. Punch, block, pivot, kick. Each movement flowing into the next, like water, like death, like art. Muay Thai? He asks. And Krav Maga. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And about 6 other systems. She completes the form and turns to face him, breathing hard but controlled. My father believed in being adaptable. Every style has weaknesses. The key is knowing which one to use when. Show me. Alice's lips curve. You want to spar? I want to see what you can do. Seo-jun shrugs off his shirt, leaving him in a fitted tank top that shows the tattoos wrapping his arms, the dragon of his clan. The names of his dead, written in Korean script along his ribs. No holding back. I need to know exactly what I'm working with. You might regret that. I doubt it. They circle each other, Predators testing for weakness. Seo-jun moves first, a testing jab that Alice slips easily. She counters with a low kick to his thigh that he barely blocks, feeling the impact sing through his bones. Fast. She's fast. They trade strikes for 30 seconds, neither landing anything significant. Then Alice shifts tactics, closing the distance, trying to get inside his guard for a grapple. Seo-jun catches her wrist, uses her momentum to spin her around, pulling her back against his chest with her arm locked. Yield? His voice is rough against her ear. Alice's answer is to slam her head back into his face. Seo-jun tastes blood, releases her on instinct, and she's already moving, spinning, her elbow catching him in the ribs hard enough to drive the air from his lungs. He stumbles back, and she follows, pressing the advantage. The next 2 minutes are brutal. She's faster, more technically skilled. But he's stronger, more ruthless, willing to take hits to land his own. They crash around the training room, neither giving ground, both drawing blood. Seo-jun finally manages to tackle her, using his weight advantage to take her to the mat. But Alice wraps her legs around his waist immediately, locking him in a triangle choke that starts cutting off his air supply. He should tap out, should acknowledge the superior technique. Instead, he lifts her bodily off the mat and slams her back down. Hard enough that her grip loosens, hard enough that she gasps. Then he's on top of her, pinning her wrists above her head, using his body weight to hold her down. They're both breathing hard, covered in sweat, faces inches apart. Yield? He asks again, voice rough. Alice bucks her hips, trying to throw him off. When that doesn't work, when she realizes he's got her, truly trapped, something changes in her eyes. The fight drains away, replaced by something more dangerous. Yes, she whispers. Seo-jun realizes two things simultaneously. 1. His hands are still pinning her wrists. His body is pressed against hers. He can feel every breath she takes, every inch of her heat beneath him. 2. He doesn't want to let her go. We should, he starts. I know. But Alice doesn't move either. Just looks up at him with those fierce, fearless eyes. This is a bad idea. The worst. We said after. We did. Neither of them moves. Seo-jun's grip on her wrists loosens, becomes less of a restraint and more of a caress. His thumb traces the inside of her wrist, feeling her pulse hammering there, wild, alive, matching his own. You're making this very difficult, he says roughly. Good. Alice arches up slightly, closing the distance between them by another fraction. You make everything difficult, controlling, possessive, acting like you own me. I don't own you. No? Her voice drops to something challenging. Then let me go. It's a dare, a test, and they both know it. Seo-jun releases her wrists, but he doesn't move away. Instead, his hands slide down her arms, over her shoulders, coming to rest on either side of her face, caging her without touching her, giving her every opportunity to escape. She doesn't. Tell me to stop, he says. No. Alice, we're going to war tomorrow, Seo-jun. Her hands come up to grip his wrists, holding him there. We might die, and I'm tired of pretending I don't want this. Don't want you. The confession breaks something in him. All the control he's been clinging to, all the reasons this is a bad idea, they evaporate like smoke. He kisses her like he's drowning and she's air. Alice kisses him back just as desperately, her hands sliding up his arms, pulling him closer until there's no space left between them. The kiss is hungry, consuming, tasting like violence and need, and the particular sweetness of finally giving in. When Seo-jun's hands start to explore tracing the curve of her waist, the dip of her spine, Alice makes a sound that's half moan, half surrender. She wraps her legs around his hips, pulling him tighter against her, and he feels his control fracturing completely. Upstairs, he manages against her mouth. Not here. Why not here? Because when I have you, it's going to be in a bed, where I can take my time, where I can... The intercom on the wall crackles to life. Young-soo's voice cuts through the moment like a blade. Sir, we have a problem. Reality slams back. Seo-jun pulls away from Alice, both of them breathing hard. What is it? Someone just delivered a package to the front gate. No return address. It's addressed to Alice Davidson. Alice's face goes pale. Don't open it. Too late, sir. It's already been x-rayed and cleared. It's a phone, burner model. And it's ringing. Seo-jun and Alice exchange a look. Then they're both on their feet, moving toward the stairs. When they reach the security office, Young-soo hands Alice the phone. It's still ringing, shrill, insistent. Alice takes a breath. Answers. Yes? Seo-jun can't hear the other side of the conversation, but he watches Alice's face drain of color, watches her hands start to shake. When? Her voice is dead. Where? More silence. Then I understand. She hangs up, looks at Seo-jun with eyes that have gone cold and distant. They have someone, she says quietly. Sarah Chen, she was on my team, the one marked MIA. I thought she was dead, but they've had her for a year. And the Viper just sent me proof of life. Seo-jun's blood turns to ice. What does he want? Me. Tomorrow night. The Red Lotus. Alone. Alice's voice is steady, but her hand is white-knuckled around the phone. He says if I bring anyone, if he sees any surveillance, any backup, he kills her. Slowly. On camera. And sends the footage to every intelligence agency that ever employed us. It's a trap. Of course it's a trap. Alice's laugh is bitter, broken. But it doesn't matter. Sarah took those bullets for me. She stayed behind so I could run. I'm not leaving her there. Seo-jun moves to her, takes her shoulders. Then we plan. We prepare. We find a way to get you both out. There is no way out. That's the point. She looks up at him, and he sees the resignation in her eyes, the willingness to die that comes from carrying too much guilt for too long. This was always how it was going to end. I just hoped I'd take him with me. No. The word comes out harsh. Absolute. You're not dying tomorrow. Neither is your friend. You can't control this, Seo-jun. Watch me. He pulls her close, ignoring Young-soo's presence, beyond caring about propriety or appearances. I didn't survive 15 years in this business by accepting impossible situations. Every trap has a weakness. We just have to find it. Alice presses her face against his chest, and he feels her trembling, this fierce, dangerous woman finally allowing herself to break. I'm so tired. I'm so tired of running, of fighting, of watching everyone I care about get hurt because of me. Then stop running. His arms tighten around her. Stand with me. Fight with me. Let me carry some of this weight. Why? Her voice is muffled against his shirt. Why do you care? You've known me 3 weeks. You don't owe me anything, because you brought my son back from the dead. Seo-jun's voice is rough with emotion he didn't know he still had. Because you're the first person in 2 years who didn't look at me with fear or calculation. Because when you kiss me, I forget what it feels like to be alone. Alice pulls back just enough to look at him. Her eyes are red-rimmed, fierce, still carrying that core of steel that drew him to her in the first place. I'm a terrible investment, she whispers. I come with enemies and trauma and a death wish. So do I. He cups her face, thumbs wiping away tears she probably doesn't even realize she's crying. We're matched, Alice. You saw it from the beginning. 2 broken people who know how to survive in the dark. I don't want to drag you down with me. Too late. I'm already falling. The admission costs him, but it's worth it to see the shock, the hope, the cautious joy that flickers across her face. So we do this together. We save your friend. We kill the Viper. We burn the black dragons to the ground. And then what? Then we figure out what comes after revenge. He leans in, presses his forehead to hers. If you're brave enough. Alice's laugh is watery but genuine. You're asking the woman walking into a death trap if she's brave enough for a relationship? I'm asking the woman who survived hell if she's brave enough to try living. For a long moment, she doesn't answer. Just breathes against him, drawing strength from his presence the way he's drawing strength from hers. Then, okay, we save Sarah. We end this. And then we try living. She pulls back, her expression shifting from vulnerable to tactical. But we do it smart. We need a plan that doesn't get everyone killed. Seo-jun allows himself a dark smile. I think I have one. But you're not going to like it. Tell me anyway. The power cuts at 3:47 a.m. Seo-jun wakes instantly, hand reaching for the gun under his pillow before his eyes fully open. The emergency lights kick on after 3 seconds too long, which means someone cut the main power and the backup simultaneously. Professional work. His phone is already buzzing. Young-soo, breach at the south gate. 5 hostiles. Yeon is secure in the panic room, but the message cuts off. Seo-jun is moving before conscious thought. Pulling on tactical gear he keeps in his closet, checking his weapons. 2 guns, 3 knives, 1 garrote. He's halfway to the door when he hears it, a sound that stops his heart. Music. Delicate. Haunting. A child's music box playing a lullaby he hasn't heard in 2 years. The one Hae-jin used to sing to Yeon before bed. The one only family would know. The betrayal hits like a physical blow. Someone gave them that information. Someone inside his organization. Seo-jun moves through his house like a ghost, checking corners, clearing rooms. The music is coming from Yeon's bedroom, his son's bedroom, where the panic room should have sealed shut the moment the breach was detected. The door is open. Inside, Yeon sits frozen on his bed, staring at a small music box on his nightstand. The one his mother used to keep on her dresser. The one Seo Jun burned after her funeral because he couldn't stand to hear it anymore. Someone brought it back. Someone used it as bait. Yawn. Seo Jun's voice is barely a whisper. Come to me. Slowly. His son's eyes are wide, terrified. He starts to move, and a figure emerges from the closet. Then another from behind the curtains. 2 men, black tactical gear, faces covered. They're between Seo Jun and his son, Mr. Park. The voice is accented Chinese, specifically Beijing. The Viper sends his regards. Seo Jun's world narrows to a single point of focused rage. Where's Alice? Busy. We have 3 men engaging her now. She's very skilled, but outnumbered. I wonder who will die first, your son or your whore. The word ignites something murderous in Seo Jun's chest. He raises his gun, but the man closest to Yun pulls out a knife, pressing it to the boy's throat. Drop it, or I open his neck before you finish pulling the trigger. Seo Jun's hand doesn't waver. His mind is calculating angles, trajectories, the split-second timing he'd need to take them both down before either could hurt Yun. The odds aren't good. Then he hears it a crash from downstairs. A man's scream, cut short, the sound of a body hitting the floor with terminal force. Alice, seems your men aren't doing so well, Seo Jun says quietly. How many did you bring? 5? 4 now. By the sound of it. Another crash, another scream. The man holding Yun's throat glances toward the door, nervous. 3. Last chance, Seo Jun says. Let him go, and I'll make your deaths quick. You're not in a position to. Alice explodes through the doorway like vengeance incarnate. She's covered in blood, not all of it hers, and moving with the cold efficiency of someone who stopped thinking and started killing. She takes down the first man with a knife to the spine, dropping him before he can turn. The second man, the one holding Yun, starts to slash. Seo Jun fires. The bullet takes the man in the eye, dropping him instantly. But his momentum carries the knife forward, and Seo Jun watches in horror as it grazes Yun's shoulder, drawing blood. His son screams. Alice is already there, scooping Yun up, checking the wound with practiced hands. Superficial. He's okay. He's okay, Seo Jun. But Yun is sobbing, clinging to Alice with desperate strength, and Seo Jun feels something in his chest crack and bleed. They almost took his son. Again. Where's Yong-soo? His voice is dead calm, which means he's about 2 seconds from losing control entirely. Unconscious. Head wound. He'll live. Alice meets his eyes over Yun's head. This wasn't random. They knew exactly where to hit, when to hit. They had codes for the security system. They had. She stops, her expression going cold. They had the music box, the one from your wife's room, the one you destroyed. I know. Then you know what this means. Someone inside my organization sold us out. Seo Jun's hand tightens on his gun. Someone who had access to personal information. Someone my wife trusted. The implications are staggering. It means the betrayal goes back 2 years. It means Haijin's death might not have been an accident. It means someone he considers family has been working for the Black Dragons all along. We need to move, Alice says urgently. They sent 5 men. That's a probing attack. The real assault will come when they realize this failed. Let them come. Seo Jun's voice is ice and murder. I want them to come. I want to kill every single one of them. Appa? Yun's small voice cuts through the rage. I want to go with Alice, please. The simple request. The trust in his son's voice when he says her name grounds Seo Jun. Reminds him what's at stake. We all go together, he says quietly. The safe house in Busan. Now, we regroup, we identify the traitor, and then we finish this. Alice nods. I'll get the car. No. Seo Jun catches her arm. I'll get the car. You stay with Yun. You protect him. That's the job, remember? She looks at him for a long moment, reading the subtext. I trust you with the most important thing in my world. I remember, she says quietly. Seo Jun kisses Yun's forehead, then surprises himself by kissing Alice too quick, fierce, possessive. Don't die before I get back. Same to you. He moves through his house, checking for more attackers, finding the bodies Alice left in her wake. 3 men, all dead within 30 seconds of each other. All killed with brutal efficiency, broken necks, severed arteries. 1 man with his own knife buried in his throat. She really is magnificent. Seo Jun finds Yong-soo in the security office, bleeding from a head wound but conscious. Sir, who knew about the music box? Yong-soo's face goes gray. Only family. Only people who were close to Mrs. Park. Your mother, your brother, Mr. Han. He stops. Oh God. Mr. Han, the financial advisor. Seo Jun's voice is deadly calm. The man who's been with me for 10 years. Who held Yeon at his christening. Who cried at Haijin's funeral. Sir, I didn't want to believe it, but the files Alice found, the shell corporations, the money transfers, some of them trace back to companies Mr. Han set up for estate planning. I thought it was coincidence, but where is he? Home. At least that's where he's supposed to be. Seo Jun pulls out his phone and makes a call. It's answered on the first ring. Mr. Han. I apologize for the early hour, but I need you to come to the estate immediately. Security matter, very urgent. Of course, Mr. Park. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Thank you. I'll be waiting. He hangs up and looks at Young-soo. Get Yeon and Alice to the safe house. Use the secondary extraction route. I'll meet you there in 4 hours. Sir, what are you going to do? Seo Jun checks his gun, chambering around with cold precision. I'm going to have a conversation with an old friend. About loyalty. About betrayal. About what happens when you threaten my son. Young-soo swallows hard. He'll be armed. He'll have protection. I'm counting on it. Seo Jun's smile is a terrible thing. I need to send a message to the Black Dragons. Mr. Han's corpse will deliver it perfectly. Alice holds Yeon in the back of the armored SUV as Young-soo drives like hell toward Busan. The boy hasn't stopped shaking. His small body pressed against hers. His blood just a few drops from the shallow cut drying on her tactical gear. Tell me a story, Yeon whispers. Like you do when I have nightmares. Alice's throat tightens. She's killed 3 men in the last 30 minutes. Her hands are still stained with their blood, and this child wants her to tell him a story. What kind of story? A brave one. About warriors who win. She closes her eyes, searching for words that won't traumatize him further. Once there was a warrior who thought she was alone. She'd lost everyone she loved, and she believed the only thing left was revenge. So she traveled far from home, looking for the monster who'd hurt her family. Did she find him? Not yet, but she found something else. She found a boy who'd been hurt too. A boy who was scared and sad and thought he'd never be safe again. Yeon's breathing starts to slow, syncing with hers. What did she do? She taught him to fight. Not because fighting fixes everything, but because knowing you can protect yourself makes the fear smaller. And something amazing happened teaching him made her less afraid too. Because warriors are stronger together. Exactly. Alice kisses the top of his head, tasting sweat and fear and innocence. And then the boy's father came. And he was a warrior too, but a different kind. The kind who'd been fighting alone for so long he'd forgotten what it felt like to have someone watch his back. Like Appa, just like your Appa. Her voice catches. And the 3 of them, the warrior woman, the warrior father, and the brave boy, they decided to fight together, to protect each other, to be a family, even though they weren't related. Family isn't always about blood, little warrior. Sometimes it's about choice, about finding people who see the scared parts of you and stay anyway. Yeon is quiet for a long moment. Then, are you going to stay? After the fighting is over? Alice's heart breaks and mends simultaneously. Do you want me to? Yes. And I think Appa does too. He looks at you different. The way he used to look at Ioma. Like you're precious. The observation, delivered with a child's brutal honesty, steals her breath. I want to stay, she admits quietly. But I need to finish something first. Something dangerous. And I might not. You'll come back. Yeon's voice is certain. Absolute. You're too strong to die. And Appa won't let you. He's scary when he's protecting people. Alice laughs, the sound watery. He is, isn't he? On the Mistav, isn't he? The scariest, but also the safest. Yeon finally lifts his head, looking at her with eyes too old for his face. Don't let him do the dangerous thing alone, okay? He needs you, even if he doesn't say it. I won't. I promise. The safe house is a fortified apartment in Busan's financial district, anonymous, secure, stocked for a long siege if necessary. Young-soo checks every room, every window, every potential entry point while Alice gets Yeon settled. She cleans his shoulder wound properly, applying antiseptic that makes him hiss, but doesn't make him cry. This boy, who couldn't speak 2 months ago, is now taking pain without flinching. She did that. Taught him strength, gave him tools, and maybe, in the process, taught herself that she's more than just a weapon. Alice? Young-soo appears in the doorway. We need to talk. About the extraction plan. She tucks Yeon into bed, makes sure he has the small training knife she'd given him, wooden, harmless, but it makes him feel brave. Then she joins Young-soo in the main room. Seo Jun wants to go after the Viper alone, she says before he can speak. After he deals with Mr. Han, He thinks keeping me away from the Red Lotus will save my life. Will it? No. It'll get him killed. Alice moves to the window, staring out at the Busan skyline. The Viper wants me specifically. He'll use Sarah as bait. And when Seo-jun shows up instead, he'll kill them both just to make a point. This only works if I'm there. Then we're at an impasse. Because Mr. Park gave me explicit orders to keep you here until this is over. Alice turns, studying Young-soo with calculating eyes. You've served him for 8 years. You took a bullet for his wife. So tell me, are you loyal to his orders? Or to keeping him alive? Young-soo's jaw tightens. That's not fair. Nothing about this is fair. But I need to know if you'll help me get to Seoul before he does something stupidly noble. He'll never forgive me. He'll be alive to not forgive you. Alice's voice softens. I know what I'm asking, but I also know Seo-jun. He's been carrying guilt about his wife for 2 years. He thinks if he sacrifices himself for me, it'll somehow balance the scales. It won't. It'll just leave Yeon without a father and me without... She stops, but the unspoken words hang heavy. Without the man you love. Young-soo finishes quietly. Alice doesn't deny it. Can't deny it. Help me save him. Please. Young-soo is silent for a long moment, weighing loyalty against logic, orders against outcomes. Then, there's a helicopter on the roof. I can have us in Seoul in 90 minutes, but Yeon comes with us. I'm not leaving him unprotected. Agreed. And when Mr. Park inevitably tries to kill me for this, you explain that it was your idea. Alice allows herself a small smile. Deal. They move fast. Young-soo preps the helicopter while Alice wakes Yeon and explains, in simple terms, that they're going to help his father finish the fight. I want to help too, Yeon says seriously. You will. By being brave, by staying safe, by trusting us to protect you. Alice crouches to his level. Your job is to survive, little warrior. Can you do that? Yes. No hesitation. Pure trust. They're airborne 12 minutes later, racing toward Seoul and a confrontation that will either end this nightmare or destroy everyone she's come to love. Alice pulls out the burner phone the Viper sent, dials the number he called from. He answers immediately. Miss Laurent. Calling to accept my terms? Calling to negotiate. You want me alive, that's why you didn't kill Sarah. You need information I have. Locations of those servers. Go on. His voice is smooth, amused. I'll come to the Red Lotus. But I'm bringing someone. Park Seo-jun. He has resources I need to access the data. You kill him, you don't get what you want. And what makes you think I won't just torture you both? Because torture is unreliable, and you're a professional. You know negotiation works better. Alice keeps her voice steady. 1 hour. Red Lotus. We trade Sarah and safe passage for the server locations. Everyone walks away alive. The Viper laughs. You're lying. You'll never give up that leverage. You're right. I won't. Alice's voice goes cold. But I will give you something better. A confession. Recorded testimony about Deputy Minister Han's involvement with the Black Dragons. Names, dates, evidence. Enough to destroy him politically. Isn't that worth more than killing me? The silence on the other end stretches. She can feel him calculating, weighing the value of her death against the political chaos her testimony would cause. 1 hour, he finally says. You, Park Seo-jun, and the testimony. I see any other backup, any surveillance, any trick Sarah dies, then you die. Slowly. Understood. She hangs up and meets Young-soo's eyes in the helicopter's mirror. We have 1 hour to coordinate with Seo-jun and set the trap. What trap? You just promised him everything he wants. I promised him a confession. I didn't say whose. Alice's smile is sharp, dangerous. Mr. Han is going to have a very bad day. Seo-jun is waiting when Mr. Han arrives at the estate. The older man looks nervous, sweating despite the cool morning air, eyes darting to the bodies still being removed from the premises. My God, what happened here? The Black Dragons sent a kill team. Seo-jun's voice is conversational. They knew our security protocols, knew which systems to cut first, even knew about Yeon's panic room codes. That's terrible. Mr. Han's hand trembles as he loosens his tie. Do you know who gave them that information? I do. Seo-jun gestures to his office. Come, let's discuss it privately. Mr. Han follows, each step slower than the last. He knows. On some level, he knows this is the end. Seo-jun closes the door, locks it. The sound of the deadbolt sliding home is final as a gunshot. How much did they pay you? No preamble, no pretense. Mr. Han's face crumbles. Seo-jun, I can explain. How much? Louder now. How much was my wife's life worth? My son's terror? The 2 years I've spent watching Yun suffer? They said it was just information. They said no one would get hurt. Mr. Han is backing toward the window, trapped. I didn't know they were planning to kill Haijin. I swear, I didn't, but you knew after. And you stayed quiet. You kept taking their money. You kept feeding them intelligence. Seo-jun advances, each word punctuated by a step. You gave them the music box, the one thing that could draw Yun out of his room. You were willing to let them take him. I had debts, gambling debts. They threatened my family, so you gave them mine instead. Seo-jun's hand moves to his gun. I want one honest thing from you before you die. Who ordered the hit on Haijin? Was it the Viper? Was it Deputy Minister Han? Both. Mr. Han is crying now, pathetic and broken. The minister wanted you destabilized. Easier to control if you were grieving. The Viper suggested making it look like an accident. I didn't think they'd really... He doesn't get to finish. Seo-jun's fist connects with his face, bone crunching, blood spraying. Mr. Han goes down hard. You watched me bury my wife. You held my son while he cried for his mother. And the whole time, you knew. Seo-jun stands over him, gun drawn. There's nothing you can say that will make this right. No apology that will spare you. But I'll give you a choice: quick death. Or I take my time. Quick. Mr. Han's voice is broken. Please, quick. That's more mercy than you showed Haijin. Seo-jun raises the gun. His hand is steady. His conscience is clear. This is justice, not murder. This is... His phone rings. Alice. I'm busy, he answers. I know what you're doing. Don't. Her voice is urgent. I need him alive. I need his confession recorded for the trade with the Viper. He dies. Today. Right now. Then we lose Sarah. We lose our leverage. We lose everything. Alice's voice softens. I know you want blood. So do I. But we're smarter than this. We use him. We let him confess everything on camera. And then, after we destroy Deputy Minister Han and the Black Dragons, you can kill Mr. Han however you want. Slowly. Personally. I'll even help. The logic cuts through his rage. Barely. You're asking me to let the man who killed my wife live. I'm asking you to let him live long enough to destroy everyone else who helped. A pause. I'm asking you to trust me. The way I trusted you. Seo-jun looks down at Mr. Han, who's watching this conversation with desperate hope. Every instinct screams to pull the trigger, to feel the recoil, to watch the light leave those traitorous eyes. But Alice is right. As always, she's right. Where are you? He asks quietly. Helicopter. 30 minutes out. I'm coming to help. And before you argue, Yongsoo and Yeon are with me. We're all in this together. That's what you wanted, remember? Family. The word settles something in his chest. Family. Not the broken thing he's been holding together with rage and grief, but something new. Something built on choice and trust and shared violence. Fine. 30 minutes. But Han comes with me to the meeting, and if he tries anything, I know. You'll kill him creatively. He can hear the smile in her voice. I'm starting to love that about you. The casual admission of love, delivered like a promise and a threat, makes his heart stutter. We'll discuss that after we survive. It's a date. She hangs up. Seo-jun looks at Mr. Han and allows himself a cold smile. You just got a temporary reprieve. Congratulations. You get to live long enough to betray everyone else who betrayed me. Mr. Han's relief is palpable and pathetic. Thank you. Thank you. I'll tell you everything. Shut up. Seo-jun zip-ties his hands, gags him, and calls for his security team. Put him in the van. Secure. If he tries to run, break his legs but keep him conscious. We need him coherent for his performance. The men nod and drag Mr. Han away. Seo-jun stands alone in his office, surrounded by the ghosts of his past and the uncertain future Alice is offering. His phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. You made the right choice. See you soon. A. He allows himself a small smile. She's hacking his security again. The woman is incorrigible, and he's completely, dangerously in love with her. The Red Lotus looks like a high-end nightclub from the outside, elegant signage, velvet ropes, beautiful people queuing for entry. But Alice knows what lies beneath, knows the soundproofed rooms in the basement where the Black Dragons conduct their real business, knows the girls who smile with dead eyes, knows the weight of secrets soaked into those walls. She's going to burn it to the ground. Tonight. The plan is simple. Seo-jun takes Mr. Han in through the front, making a show of the prisoner being delivered. Alice goes in through the service entrance, the way she used to infiltrate compounds in Morocco. They meet at the basement level, coordinate the extraction of Sarah, and force Mr. Han's confession while the Viper watches. Then they kill everyone who needs killing and walk out together. Simple. Probably fatal. But simple. Alice moves through the kitchen like she belongs there. Tactical gear hidden under a server's uniform she'd stolen from the laundry. Nobody looks twice at the black woman carrying dirty plates. Racism makes for excellent camouflage. The basement stairs are guarded by 2 men. She takes them down silently, nerve strikes, not kills, because she's trying to minimize casualties until absolutely necessary. They drop like stones. The basement is exactly as she remembered from the intelligence photos. Long hallway, 6 doors, fluorescent lights that buzz and flicker, the smell of bleach barely covering something worse. Behind door 3, she finds Sarah. Her friend is barely recognizable, thinner, bruised, hollow-eyed, but alive. Still alive. Alice? Sarah's voice is broken. No, you shouldn't be here. It's a trap. I know. But I'm not leaving you. Alice cuts through the restraints, catching Sarah when she collapses. Can you walk? I can run if it means getting out of here. They're halfway to the stairs when the lights go out. Emergency lighting kicks in red, pulsing, disorienting. Then the Viper's voice over the intercom. Miss Laurent, thank you for coming. I believe you have something for me. Alice keys her radio. Seo-jun, status? In position. Han is ready to sing. But we have a problem. There are at least 20 hostiles in this building, more than the intel suggested. They were waiting for us. Obviously. She can hear the dark humor in his voice. Still want to do this? Alice looks at Sarah, who's leaning against her, trembling but determined. Thinks about Yun in the helicopter above, waiting with Yong-soo. Thinks about Seo-jun, somewhere in this building, trusting her to have his back. Thinks about finally ending this nightmare. Let's finish it, she says. The firefight starts 3 seconds later. The Viper's men pour into the basement, and Alice does what she does best. She becomes death, moving with Sarah at her back, clearing rooms, taking down threats with brutal efficiency. Somewhere above, she hears Seo-jun's guns answering. Hears Mr. Han screaming his confession, everything pouring out in a desperate bid for mercy. The Viper himself appears in the main room, and Alice feels everything narrow to this moment. This man, the one who sold her team, who killed Marcus and Sophia, who tortured Sarah for a year. You're very dramatic, Miss Laurent. The Viper is handsome, mid-40s, speaking perfect English with a slight British accent. All this violence when we could have just talked. I'm done talking. Alice raises her gun. Wait. Seo-jun's voice. He emerges from the shadows, blood on his suit, death in his eyes. He's mine. We share. Alice doesn't lower her weapon. He hurt both of us. The Viper laughs. How romantic. The criminal and the spy, united in revenge. But you're forgetting something important. I'm not alone. He snaps his fingers. 5 men emerge from concealment, all armed, all trained. The odds aren't good. Alice and Seo-jun exchange a look, a lifetime of understanding passing in a glance. Together? She asks. Always. They move as one, Alice taking left, Seo-jun taking right, Sarah providing suppressing fire despite her injuries. The room erupts in violence, bullets, and blood, and the terrible beauty of 2 warriors finally fighting side by side. Alice takes down 3 men with a combination of gunfire and close-quarters combat. Seo-jun kills 2 more with cold precision, and Sarah broken, traumatized. Sarah shoots the 6th man who is trying to flank them, which leaves the Viper. He's fast, trained, experienced. He puts a bullet in Alice's shoulder before she can react, the impact spinning her around. She goes down hard, and through the pain she sees him aim for the killing shot. Seo-jun crashes into him. The 2 men go down in a tangle of violence, fighting for control of the gun. Alice struggles to her feet, blood streaming down her arm, vision blurring. The gun goes off. Someone screams. When the smoke clears, Seo-jun is standing over the Viper's body, breathing hard, covered in blood. The Viper is still alive, barely clutching his stomach where Seo-jun shot him. Alice. Seo-jun is at her side immediately, hands gentle despite the violence still humming through him. How bad? Through and through, I'll live. She looks at the Viper, dying on the floor of his own club. Let me finish it. Together, Seo-jun says again. They stand over the man who destroyed their lives, guns raised. Any last words? Alice asks. The Viper laughs, blood bubbling on his lips. You think this ends with me? The minister will. They fire simultaneously. The Viper stops talking permanently. Silence falls, the kind that comes after battles, heavy with exhaustion and the weight of what's been done. We need to move. Yongsu's voice crackles over the radio. Police are 3 minutes out. Extract Sarah. Seo-jun orders. Alice and I will handle cleanup. Sir, you're both injured. We'll manage. Get Sarah medical attention. Keep Yon safe. We'll meet you at the secondary location. They burn the Red Lotus on their way out. Literally. Seo-jun sets the charges, while Alice uploads Mr. Han's confession to every news outlet in Korea. By the time if you're ready to follow Alice and Seo-jun into the shadows of Seoul, hit that like button and share your prediction for their next mission. Will their shared darkness forge an unbreakable love? Or will the secrets of her past consume them both? Subscribe now so you don't miss the continuation of the Delta's shadow, because in this world, peace is temporary, but loyalty is forever.